What's up, guys? My name's Chris Bowen. I'm here with Nick Oglivie, and this is our first episode of the Level Up, the podcast. So we're excited to have Nick here with us today. Nick is the owner of Lux Blades. They are a turf distribution company, installation company, and then he also owns a sport court company as well. So we're super happy to have Nick here. Nick, tell us a little bit about your business, man.
Yeah, thanks. Well, thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate it. So I do all things artificial turf. I've been doing this for almost 2 decades. Um, I started in Clovis, New Mexico, and went to Florida, and I was there in Florida doing it. Covered all of Florida till about 3 years ago, and I moved to the Frisco area and of Texas, and it's been good ever since. And so I just before COVID, I was really heavily in the commercial area.
Okay.
A lot of theme park companies.
I was just say you said uh, that big theme park's one of your
That's
clients,
right.
correct? I don't know if we're allowed to say it, but
Yeah.
the
So yeah,
big theme park.
that's right. A big theme park in Florida, centrally located. And I've done some Hard Rock hotels, and so I'm kind of excited. The Hard Rock's coming over here in Oklahoma, North Texas area, right? So that's gonna
Yep.
be huge. Margaritaville.
Are you going to be doing any of the work at the new? I believe it's like Universal in Frisco, right?
Yeah, yeah. I hope so. I hope they find
Okay.
me. It's a little different because it's universal, but all these corporations are owned by a certain, and it's
Okay. Okay. So it's
they're-
not individualized where like you have a connection with this person
no,
and they do it all. They schedule all the turf for all of them.
no. But you know what? If I don't get the turf, I hope whoever gets the turf does a great job.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And so that's why I have the Turf Biz Academy and stuff like that, where I teach people how to do artificial turf,
I think that's
and and people are like, "Why do you teach your competition?" And I tell people it's because I don't want people to go to a backyard to a Super Bowl party. Let's just say a Super Bowl party, and like, man, they had turf, but it was installed crappy. So I'm glad we didn't do that. We want turf to be beautiful. So they're like, I need to go get a bid for that turf.
yeah, you don't want to turn people off to the idea of it. I mean, I have turf in my backyard, and it's probably the greatest decision that me and my wife have ever made.
Right?
Like, we love it. Yeah,
Exactly. You're not having to spend the weekends out there mowing.
that's exactly right. And the dogs like it, the kids like it. Um, it just makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier.
Yeah. And so, I was the first person to install artificial turf as a golf course in the United States.
Really?
Yeah, I installed it on the south rim of the Paladero Canyon. So that was pretty cool. I would have been the first one in the world, but a company out of Dubai built it 2 months prior. If I hadn't got some rain, I think I would have beat them. But it is what it is.
Hey, still the first one in the United States, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
So that's my claim to fame.
that's cool, man. And so you
But
have this business where you
yeah,
teach others how to do it, and then you also have your distribution channel as well, correct?
yeah, that's correct. So we have turf that's made domestically here in the United States that is a little bit more expensive, and then we have a more cost effective one that's made in Vietnam is where I have it made. So I don't tell people, well, it's all I'm
Yeah,
very me, Chris. I'm transparent,
yeah,
and
absolutely. It's
so
not all the same.
yeah, yeah, and so yeah, it's good. What I did was for 3 years, I found the best of all the different turfs and molded them into just three SKUs. So most turf companies they'll have multiple of SKUs, and they can go to a local distribution warehouse, pick them up, and you go to the person's house and you're like, oh, that looks just like this turf. Because they all go to the same place.
Yeah,
And so I try to differentiate myself and just do the best. So people ask us, well, or they'll tell, well, you weren't as cheap as the other guys, and I tell them exactly, we're not the cheapest, but we do believe we're the best. And so I take that to our products, the
I
products that
love that.
other people can buy, other installers from Lux Blades, they can buy and get the best.
So here's my question for you:
Yeah.
If somebody's a young entrepreneur that's wanting to manufacture products overseas, what was that process kind of like? How did you go about finding a manufacturer overseas to even begin with, and then how did you test products and stuff like that? Because don't they
Yeah.
make you buy like a whole container to
So
bring over?
yeah, so the most important thing was I found them on LinkedIn,
Okay,
different manufacturers, and I had every one of them send me samples.
yeah,
And then whenever I found the couple, two or three of the manufacturers I really liked, I said, okay, I like these, but can you make it like this? And they did. And the most important thing in all artificial turf is you don't want a latex backing
okay,
because the UV will damage it and it will start hurting the turf, right? The warranty is not going to be there. So I said, the price was great. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't meet the quality. So then when I found the company that the quality, I said, I want it tested. And so then they tested it. And then everything that I do, I get tested. So for instance,
so they're
I'm
testing and you're doing an independent test on your own too.
on my own because I have to verify for my clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so like I have this to back up. There's a lot of people doing rooftops with turf, a ton,
uh,
but I'm the only one.
Rooftops. Oh, I
Rooftop.
guess like commercial. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
But I'm the only one in the world that has a Category 5 uplift test proven security system for artificial turf. And that's because of a certain person I have to install for require
that's
things to
pretty
be
cool. That's
engineered,
pretty
right?
cool.
And so right here in our area outside of like Carrollton area, it's called Hague Engineering.
Okay.
They specialize in roof engineering and stuff. So I took them and they do a test called a Bell test for wind uplift. So
Yeah.
they made it like a Hurricane 5 inside this chamber, and my turf passed the way
That's
that I designed it to install it. So yeah, so
That's
I
pretty
test
dang
everything.
cool. So, okay, so that I mean, there's only so many people, I guess, in the United States that can claim that, and
Yeah,
that's a really good selling point when it comes down to some of these commercial applications, especially the really high-end commercial applications. With a lot
yeah,
of what we're seeing go on right now in the U.S. In some of these resorts that they're building right now, so
yeah,
that's really cool.
yeah. Thanks. Yeah, 100%. And so then that goes to my courts, right? My courts that I install,
Yep.
my sports courts. I've I they're made here in the United States, and
Okay.
I went through three different manufacturers here as well, and I found the one that's the best. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's the best.
Yeah.
And
And
I've
what
been
kind of
really,
differentiates those different levels on a sport court for somebody who's not super familiar with sport courts?
yeah. So I do the tile sport courts,
Okay.
and it's the thickness. It could be the thickness of the plastic. It could be the shock absorption. There's a lot of different factors that I play into in order to get the best warranty, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
UV extrusion, and I learned a lot about UV extrusion in the manufacturing of turf. So it's all done with plastic resins and stuff like that. And so that's how these quartz are made through extrusion of plastic with resins.
Okay.
So,
That's
yeah.
cool. And then, so talk to us a little bit about how your franchise model works. Because are you involved in kind of the North Texas franchise, or do they kind of run independently of you, or how does that kind of work?
Yeah. So, had a couple here that bought Lux Blades North Texas. And like I said, they cover all of North Texas. I'm there to help.
Okay.
Um, I have a non compete where I can't,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's good on both parts, right?
It is. Yeah.
And so I set them up for success, and they take all my pictures, like all my pictures, all my testing, so that way they can run with it and set them up with marketing and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
each location is based off of obviously the demographics, how many people are in the area, how that dictates the cost of the franchise.
Okay. So it's a demographic based franchise fee versus just like a flat. I guess, revenue
Correct.
percentage. Okay.
Yep.
So, and then how many franchises do you have currently? Just the one, or are there
Just
more?
yeah, just the one. Just the
One.
one here in North Texas.
And what's kind of the plan? Are you wanting to go beyond that, or what are
Yeah,
what
so
are your goals?
I wanna get around 7. I think that's the sweet spot.
Okay.
Um, just because that way it leaves a lot on the table for other people. So if I had one in say Florida and they need to do something in Georgia, they could. Or
Yeah.
maybe I had one set in Georgia, they wanted to go to Florida. I because I don't one thing is I don't want to pigeonhole
Yeah.
these
Absolutely.
people. And that's
I
what I
get
see a
you.
lot of franchises do. They
Yeah.
pigeonhole and like, oh well, sorry for your bad luck, but you can only do Frisco, Texas. You can't do Denton, Texas, which is right there.
Isn't that wild how some franchises work like that? I was
Yeah.
listening to another podcast the other day where somebody was talking about that, where they've got it broken up into, 8 different franchises in the Metroplex. And I'm like, wow, that takes out a lot of business when you've got that many in one concentrated area. Because when I ran my construction company, I mean, yes, we focused on a specific area, but we went all over. I mean, we
Right.
were in Flower Mound, we went to Salina, we were going to Fort Worth, we were, you know, McKinney, all over. And I don't understand why you would want to be confined, to such a very small geographic area,
Yeah.
because it really limits your ability to grow.
It does, and it limits the ability for the franchisee to grow, but it also creates, I would think, a headache for someone like me with if they call me and say, "Well, so and so stole my business here," because
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't want to be a babysitter.
no.
That's the last thing I want to do.
Yeah, like I could see like if you had a North Texas, maybe you had a Houston, you know,
That makes sense.
one or two in Florida, maybe like a South Florida, maybe
Yes.
like a Northern Florida,
Yeah.
stuff like that, where you have several hours between them
A
that,
hundred percent.
they're not going to go for the average job, but,
No.
you don't want them competing within the same, couple mile radius, I would think.
Exactly. You want enough meat left on the bone for these people so they stay hungry. They stay, they want to go out and get it.
Well, and then want to stay franchisees too. I mean, that's
Exactly.
retention when a franchise is not great outside of the McDonald's and Chick-fil-A's and stuff like that. And so I feel like that's the responsibility as the franchisor is to help kind of entice these people to want to stay and giving them a reason to stay. And I think that's a big reason is they're not fighting with their own competition from their own company.
100%. 100%. I don't know, Water Shapes University?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be on one of their publications coming out.
Oh nice. I love those
And
guys.
yeah, and so Eric was interviewing me and stuff like that, and we were kind of going over the exact same what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know those guys very well. So they were all. I used to be a part of the Genesis program, which is very similar to Watershape University.
Okay.
It was prior to Watershape, so all the instructors that are at Watershape now used to teach for Genesis back when I did that, and so
That's
I went all
awesome.
the way through kind of their program back then. And then when they started Watershapes was kind of when I was on my way out of the industry. But yeah, those are all really good guys. I know Paolo really well, David Penton, um, Ben, all those guys. They're
That's
all
awesome.
good people
Yeah, for sure.
and good
For
for
sure.
the industry as well, in my opinion.
I think so too, it's just one of those things like they're just education, you
Yeah,
know.
I think the more educated contractors or really anybody in business can be, the better they are at running their business. Because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, knowledge is power. And if you don't have the knowledge about the product that you're selling, you're going to make mistakes.
100%, and they could be costly ones, right?
They can be
In our
very costly
industry, they
mistakes.
could go really south really
Yes, they
fast.
can. Yes, they can. Absolutely. So, tell me a little bit about what it took to kind of for those people that are listening that are considering going the franchise route.
Mhm.
How did you set up your franchise? Like, what was involved with the legalities of
So you got to do, you know, oh, there's a lot set up with it.
that?
You got to do your oh my gosh, I don't need technical terms, right? But it's all the set up for compliance, right? Everything from compliance to um, making sure they just don't deface your name of your company.
So, and did you have to trademark Lux Blades then to be
So
able
yeah,
to do that?
so
Like,
Texas, yeah, Texas, you trademark it. And what's funny is I've even trademarked the saying "turfed out" and said it turned out really good at "turfed out,"
I love that. That's
and I
cool.
and I trademarked that too. And when you trademark things, it's very specific.
Yes.
So it's very, you're gonna do it for social media. Are you gonna do it for, and you have to pay for each
Yeah.
exact one. So, um, yeah, it's just, and when you're just setting up a franchise, you can set it up as if you get paid on the back end too, right? Like
Hmm.
if your gross sales are XYZ, you get 3%, or so, and that's a lot of negotiating with people coming on board.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure. I'm sure
So
it's not like a set amount.
it's
At
not.
least in this industry, of this is the percentage you pay off the top of gross.
Yeah, and everything's different, but me, I'm kind of like a straightforward and very simple at the same
Yeah.
time, because I feel like if you keep it simple, it's better. Like, you have to meet these goals. If you don't meet these goals, then sorry. I mean, I got to take it back,
Yeah, absolutely.
because it holds them accountable, and it holds me accountable, because I got to do what I say. Like, I'm having to help with marketing. I'm having to help with this, with distribution. I'm having to help. I have all these different roles that I'm still helping with. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I got to hold myself accountable too.
Yeah, you don't just get to hang out now that you've got a franchisee.
No,
It's nothing like that at all.
no,
You don't just
total
get to hang
top.
out and collect a paycheck.
No, I wish that was the case.
I think that's what a lot of people think that, when you own a franchise that like a franchise system, that's what it is you hang
Yeah,
out and collect a check and there's
yeah.
so much that goes into the back end. I mean, I'm sure that you helped them set up their CRM
Oh yeah,
the way that it needed to be. You're helping with all the marketing, the social media, the
yes.
photography, the videos,
Oh yeah,
all of that goes
everything,
into it.
everything, and that's all laid out in the documents that we all sign, because, like I said, it just goes back into, it holds myself accountable as well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely. And what does a typical day for you look like as an entrepreneur?
wake up about 6 a.m. Get a pot of coffee going. That's my very first. That's my very first thing.
Absolutely.
Um, check on the cows, right? And then
I forgot you have cows. Yeah.
I've got
You
cows.
said you
Yeah,
live in Frisco, but you must
yeah.
live on like the outskirts of Frisco.
So my actual home is Salina.
Okay, all right, all right.
Yep,
That makes
yep.
sense.
So and I love it there, but I'm very fortunate. I have some acreage, and have two cows, obviously for ag exemption, right?
I love it.
Let's just be honest here.
Oh yeah.
Um, but take care of them. Um, and come over here to the office. My office is at Grandscapes.
Yeah, it's a cool office too.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
It's a cool
Yeah,
office.
yeah, yeah. There's a little bit for everybody, right? And I mean, it's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool spot. I was lucky enough to get to tour the office for those of you who don't know a few months back. And it's just a really cool space. I mean, the whole area of Grandscape is just really beautiful. And so
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
hard spot.
It's nuts. We just finished up Fireside Surf, which is
Okay.
crazy, and they have the big pool that they have a 30-foot wave on,
What?
and they go
That's
through a
wild.
million gallons of water in 1 minute.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, I hope everybody is watching goes to this place and checks it, just to see
That's pretty wild.
the water moving that fast and that much is incredible. And then you'll see our fake palm trees there.
Oh, that's
Um,
right. You do the palm trees as well.
yep, our fake palm trees are there. The turf will be there. It's just, yeah, it's cool. Then you got Tiger Woods building his deal next door,
Yep.
and it's
Yep.
just, I mean, this spring and summer over there is going to be awesome.
It really is. I was actually able to see a wave pool like that one time, the behind the scenes. I was actually doing a class. I can't remember Genesis or Water Shapes, but they took us behind the scenes of Mandalay Bay to take a look at the lazy river and the wave pool there. And you want to talk about crazy to see, 150 horsepower pumps pumping water through 12 inches of pipe to create these effects. It is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. It was pretty spectacular. I'm not gonna lie.
I bet that was awesome.
It was very cool. It was very cool. So, and then I've heard the Bellagio in Vegas is also really cool. The fountains. I've heard that's one of the best pump rooms in the world.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So that's the stuff that I kind of geek out about is some of the technical parts of it. But I love it. It's cool.
That's awesome.
So if we've got guys listening that are in the turf industry, what's the best way for them to reach out to you? Whether it's about buying turf at wholesale or setting up a franchisee situation.
Yeah, so the best way to get a hold of me is therealnicko.com. That's a good one.
Okay.
Or just like my sign back there, Luxe, Luxe, Blades, BLADES.com, and Nick at luxblades.com.
Okay. Perfect. I love it.
So,
Well, Nick, it's been so great talking to you today, man. I really appreciate your time. And
yeah, it's been great.
I can't wait to get this episode out for everybody, man.
Awesome.
Everybody's gonna be excited about it. So thank you for being my first guest, man.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Chris. Bye.
Have a good one.
All right.